So Roland, tell me about your black belt. A lot of people say that you self-promoted yourself to black belt.
Well, that is true. You know, back in the early days when I was training, I was competing a lot. I did super fights only. You know, they would bring guys out from other states, other countries. Most of the guys were Brazilians, and a lot of people had it out for me because I was living in Arizona and I was basically training on my own. But before that, I was training with Rodrigo Gracie and Ken Gaberson in Orange County, California. So to make a long story short, I did pretty good as a brown belt. I thought I did fairly well. I did the open division. I went against a lot of guys that were a lot bigger than me and younger and etc. A lot of people didn't realize how old I was back in those days. I was actually, I think, 38, 39, 40s. Not that it really mattered, but it's kind of comical. But getting back to the black belt. My reasons for that was when Ken Gaberson pretty much got divorced, gave up his school, Rodrigo Gracie moved to New York City with Henzo. I had to make a decision. I was pretty much on my own. And I competed a couple times as a brown belt super matches. I only did super matches, always. And I had to make a decision. Do I get affiliated with some black belt and make myself believe that I'm legitimate, or I go out and compete and see how I do? So what I did is, there was a tournament going on with the Machados, and David Myers, at the time one of the top black belts in the world. Me and him had a match, and I pretty much put a black belt on, and I told myself, you know what, I'm not affiliated with anyone, and I didn't really want to, so I thought to myself, what better way is to prove it to myself and to people? And I thought it was pretty noble of me, if that's the right word. I went out there and I went 0-0. They gave me an advantage point. So after that match, I felt that I was legitimate. A lot of people were upset because they felt that I needed to get some paper saying that I'm legitimate. Legitimate to me is get on the mat and prove it. I don't need no paper. I don't need no instructor to make me feel that I'm legitimate. Okay. After that match, I went 0-0. I'll be honest with you. I've never been the best tournament player. I tend to do very well in the classroom. I tend to get very nervous, and it's a lack of experience, and it was very difficult to me. I always felt that I never really gave my all when I competed. Back in those days too, I was reckless too. I would get drunk before every tournament, the night before, partying, chasing women. I was crazy. I was a wild man. But it's beside the point. So after that, a couple of years went by. I decided to compete in the Pan American Games, and I went over there, and they told me that I couldn't compete because I wasn't legitimate, because I wasn't affiliated with any legitimate black belt, I guess. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let me go out there and let me make an ass of myself. What better ways to make myself look like an ass? Let me compete. Let's see. Let's see if I'm legitimate or not. And they didn't let me compete, and I haven't competed with the gi ever since then. And I think it's been probably, 5-6 years. So occasionally I'll compete again. I did Naga about 2 years ago. Once again, they put me in a super match, and I wasn't in the mood for that. I'm partying out, the night before. I figured I'll enter the, 45 and above, whatever level it was. They put me with some young stallion horse that walked on. He must have been somebody. I found out later. I think he was some well-known black belt. But I whooped his ass. And so, if people have any questions about my black belt, it's real simple. Let me compete. Let me make an ass of myself. I think that's the best
lots
way.
of Rage in the Cage fighters, UFC veterans, WEC and Strikeforce fighters. You will believe, I noticed a lot of the fighters, they're not very steady with you, and I notice a lot of guys don't come and learn from your teachings.
That's a good question. I've trained so many guys, and not to toot my horn, I fought. A lot of these instructors have never fought, but they have a tremendous amount of students training with them that are very good. I really don't know the answer to that. I'm still puzzled. I don't think there's an instructor in Arizona that has my resume. I think my reputation has been destroyed one way or another because being a promoter. I think people maybe judge me as a promoter, my business decision, and didn't judge me as an instructor. Or maybe my ex-students badmouth me. I really don't know. But the case is this, anybody can get a student that's already good and grab them and take them to the next level, especially if you're like a NCAA wrestler, whatever the case is. That's easy. But can you get a student that's never played any sports, no athletic background, from ground zero and take them to the UFC. I have done that. It's my phone right here.
Now, what direction do you see MMA going here in Arizona?
Well, it's changed a lot in the last couple of years. A lot of new schools, a lot of people teaching. I don't see the foundation that I once seen here. Arizona was hot, real hot for a while. I've seen a lot of good talent coming up. But lately, you know, I see a lot of guys fighting, scrappy, tough, but they just lack that foundation of whatever foundation they come from, whatever discipline they come from. So I think the game has changed a lot recently. The direction, is it good or bad? Not sure yet. We'll see within time. A lot of new schools. I see a lot of instructors I've never heard of. They don't seem to have a lot of experience. I really don't know, but they seem like all the good guys. I never really heard of these guys, but hey, maybe a lot of people never heard of me. I don't know. But as far as the direction, you know, we get a lot of fighters. We have a lot of shows in town. You know, I think it's going to be pretty good.